I'm no combative mastermind of FF16, but at the same time, I've died like 5 times so far, and I think I'm 3/4 of the way through if I had to guess, so I must at least be okay at the game. The gameplay here won't have any main story spoilers, apart from seeing the first 4 icons you have access to, and I don't use the 4th one, but I might be talking about it. Now, all the information I'm going to give in this video is going to be more of what I felt playing, not what I know to be fact. So some of this may not work for you, but it might provide at least a foundation for you to grow on your own. Now, most essential thing I want to say, this is Combat 101, figure out what moves you want to use and how they work. So I'm going to run you guys through what I have equipped and why I use it. So first off, I have Phoenix equipped, and if I had to call one my primary loadout, it would be this. Phoenix Shift is a move so integral to my playstyle, I'd call it the bread and butter to combat. There's an amazing amount of use for a move that teleports you to a grounded or airborne enemy, enhances your next attack, and lets you smack the shit out of them. This is a great combo starter, and keeping you stuck to an enemy to keep beasting on them has so many uses. Now, Heatwave. I love counter-style moves. It rewards you for having the reflex to get a move out, or the ability to recognize the startup of a move and prep the attack. This is the only ranged counter I've seen so far, and it's also an amazing AoE attack, even if it isn't buffed with a counter. Having waves of flaming energy just blitz a group of jobbers and launch them is a good way to get some crowd control in and put some pressure off of you, and it's pretty high damage. Ignition is a very important attack for my anti-group combo. The speed it gives you to just swarm a mob of enemies and get healthy damage off at the start of the fight is worth it. It's also pretty good at corralling enemies into a wall so you can get some shnasty combos off easier. Garuda's moves I tend to use to end a play or finish a situation. Deadly Embrace is sort of the reverse of Phoenix Shift. Instead of sticking to the enemy, you make the enemy stick to you. In my opinion, I'd like to keep access to one of these 2 mobility moves. I feel like I'd be too slow without them. What you lack in raw aggression, you make up for in utility. Being able to launch yourself upwards with a bit more damage, or a 50% stagger pull, are so strong in combat. Normally if you land the 50% trip, you can at least get another 25% onto the opponent's stagger bar, making combat move at a much faster pace. I use the default moves of Gouge and Wicked Wheel for Garuda because they just work for me. Gouge is a great attack for just hammering on an enemy if they are either tripped with Deadly Embrace or they're already staggered. With how Staggered does more damage based on attacks landed, this move lays on what I think is the most amount of attacks in the fastest amount of time, making it good to start a stagger, and then use your heavier moves after for more damage per hit. Wicked Wheel is the sequel to Ignition that's better in most ways. If you're fighting a crowd and you use Ignition and run them into a wall so a knockback doesn't happen, you can then follow up with a Wicked Wheel to bring all the enemies airborne. And then I normally follow up with a down thrust cancel into Burning Blade. We will get more into that later. Now, I use Ramu as my 3rd icon, and this one's sort of my B tier. I use it pretty much for pile drive, and will probably trade it for something else when I have it. Pile drive is what I use when a stagger has ended, but the enemy hasn't gotten back up yet. There's a very brief window where you can lay on more stagger damage for free before the enemy starts trying to beat you up again. If you follow this up with the Deadly Embrace trip, you can almost half most enemy stagger bars, making you an absolute beast, and making combat a bit easier if you're having trouble with the dodging aspect, because there's less time for the enemy to try to hit you. Now that we have that out of the way, let's talk shop on how to destroy the twins. If you ain't Magic Burst, then you ain't winning. So Magic Burst is just a well-timed triangle input at the end of a sword combo to lay on some extra damage. I think this little extra burst of damage can make or break your combat. One thing I didn't know at the start is that you can use Magic Burst before your 4th strike, which is great for highly mobile opponents who leave before a 4-hit combo Magic Burst. Now if the enemy's pushed too far away from the knockback, you might be thinking, damn, I'm gonna have to walk over there and keep beating his ass. No, you don't. Phoenix Shift and make his personal space your personal space. Or if you're feeling the other way around, you can Deadly Embrace him and make your personal space his personal space, and keep beating him up. This loop works for smaller enemies, but isn't going to get you any style points. Now I'm going to show you guys my sort of default combo and explain the inputs and logic to it and show it's not difficult. So that was a 4-hit attack, Magic Burst, Ignition, Wicked Wheel, Down Thrust, Blazing Blade, Cancel. I'm sure there's an easier way to name that. I'm not going to. This is my creation. I don't care if someone's done it before. This is now mine. So the 4-hit into Magic Burst is pretty self-explanatory. If you have trouble with the timing, head into the Hall of Virtue and set the Magic Burst timer on so you can at least see when you're trying to press it, and just get good at that. Just keep trying. Eventually you want to get to a point where you land it as sort of muscle memory and not the thing you're thinking about. Now, Ignition gets me over to the enemy fast and then lets me run them into a wall. The wall is important because without it you'd have to use a movement ability to get back to the enemy in time, which would extend the combo but also make it a bit more complex. Now, Wicked Wheel will hit any enemy who is close to you regardless of the direction you're facing. This last bit of the combo is what I like to call my personal touch. I've been staying away from FF16 content, so I don't know how well known this is, but if you down thrust with X and square and you keep holding square, you'll charge a burning blade far faster than normal, and it'll let you slam one out right after the down thrust. So I hope this sort of opened your eyes to how combat can be in this game. I'm going to show you a fight I did against a notorious Mark 6 levels above me, and you can see in the example how the fight. You want more content, just leave a comment, like, sub, follow the Twitch. I'm a head out.
My blade yet hungers, and so do I. Come, let us feast on your flesh. Your feasting days are over. Let's try. I drink your blood! Snap you like a twig! ugly boy.